Greetings, greetings, greetings. This is Revere Sky's Essence. So, I'm reading the book, Cheiro's Book of Numbers, right? So, I glance over the index to see what I want to read, okay? The content of the book. So, there's a chapter called Chapter 15, Why the Birth Numbers is the Most Important. Again, that's Chapter 15, Why the Birth Numbers is the Most Important. So let me read it to you real quick. It's only about 2.5 pages. Okay. The birth number is the easiest and clearest to use for everyday matters. So that means you'll use people's birth number for everything, okay? And for all those who are not advanced students in occult symbolism, okay, so you don't have to be advanced to know the number, but let me just read. I'm not going to explain it more. It indicates with authority and decision the exact date for action, namely a date which will be in accord and harmony with the birth number. And the rules concerning it are simple and easy to understand. A person born on, say, the 1st, 10th, 19th, or 28th, all those are reduced down to 1. Remember that. Okay? A person born on, say, the 1st, 10th, 19th, or the 28th of any month will be quite safe in picking out any one of these dates as the best date for any important action. As the number 4 is what may be called the feminine or negative side of the 1. He or she can take this number as an associate number, but on account of the peculiar qualities of this number 1, I do not advise it to be chosen for any worldly or material affairs. This number 4 will generally be found by number 1 persons as coming into their lives on its own. So they're saying number 4 is more worldly than 1. If I may be permitted to describe its actions as such, but more in the nature of a fatalistic number, which has an influence of their lives outside of their control, and certainly not always connected with the happier side of life. In many instances of number 1 people in my collection, pure side of life. No. Oh, sorry. Dang. In my instance of number 1 people in my collection, the number 4, such as 4th, 13th, 22nd, and 31st, has brought on these dates the news of an accident, a death, or a sorrow which has played some important part in their lives. Now, didn't I tell y'all pay attention to them 4s, 8s, and 12s? This is my first time reading this chapter, but did not tell y'all to pay attention to that. Let me read that again. In many instances of number 1 people in my collection, the number 4, such as the 4th, 13th, 22nd, and 31st, has brought on these dates the news of an accident. Remember I said pay attention to those 4s and 8s in the headlines? A death or a sorrow which has played some important part in their lives. The number 1 people also often find that they seem unconsciously to be drawn to live in a house whose numbers makes a 4, such as in a terrace or street number 4, 13, 22, 31, 40, 49, etc. And although such houses may be proved to be associated with important events in the career, yet I have seldom found them associated with happy material advantages. So you ones out there, be careful about being around numbers that reduce down to 4, for real. A person whose birth number is an 8 should certainly never live in a house whose number makes a 4, 13, 22, 31, 40, etc. And neither should a person whose birth number makes a 4 live in a house whose numbers makes an 8, 17, 26, 35, 44, etc. Not at least if they wish to escape sorrow, misfortune, and strange fatality. Ooh. Them lawyers. Look at lawyers' addresses and law firms. The second best numbers for a person whose birth number makes a 1 are the interchangeable numbers of the 2 and the 7. And the dates these numbers make, such as the 2nd, the 7th, the 11th, the 16th, the 20th, the 25th, and the 29th, and houses under the numbers 2, 7, 11, 16, 20, 25, 29, 34, etc., are generally not unfavorable, but as these numbers are related to change or unsettled conditions. The number 1 person seldom settles down and houses under the 2 through 7 numbers, or finds conditions brought into his or her life under let's see what the page says. Under the dates given by these numbers as relating to fixed or settled matters. Under the law of harmony and vibration, there is no question but that number 1 person should be associated as much as possible with the same number in all its degrees. Number 2 person with the number 2 in all its forms. Persons born under the 3 should employ their number 3, and so on for all the numbers with the exception of those born under the 4 and the 8. In the latter cases, I recommend then not to increase the peculiar influence of the 4 and the 8, but to choose more fortunate vibrations. This is where the power and the knowledge of the name number will apply. A number 4 or number 8 person who desires to get under more fortunate vibrations, as they cannot alter their birth number. They cannot alter their birth number. They can at least change their name number and live under it, and so become equally as fortunate as those whose birth number is a lucky one. I will give an example of what I mean. Suppose a man or woman has been born on, say, the 8th, 17th, and 26th of January, and the name number works out, let's say, to a final total of 1, 3, 5, or 6. I have purposely taken the strong or positive numbers. Then I most certainly advise the number 8 person to drop using the 8 in all their transactions and use instead of any strong number. The name may give such as a 1, 3, 5, or 6, and a number 4 person should do likewise. You will notice I have not used the 9 in giving these rules. And my reason for not doing so is that the 4, which is the symbol of planet Uranus, and the 8, which represents the planet Saturn, are so antagonistic in their qualities to the 9, the symbol of Mars, that it is better to keep such numbers apart. This may sound strange to those who have not made any study of occultism, but believe me, the above rule is not laid down at random or by any shadowy guesswork. On the contrary, it has a solid foundation in the science of planets. And anyone who has ever studied astrology will tell you that I am right when I say that any combination of planets, of Mars and Saturn or Uranus, can only foreshadow troubles and disasters of all kinds. To resume, the reason I advise that the birth number is the most important as the key to the main phatic number influencing the life is that, in the first place, it is unalterable. Secondly, it is related to the planet's influence at the moment of birth. And thirdly, by some mysterious law of vibration, which even if we do not understand, we must admit to exist, even in such a so-called inanimate object as crystals, molecules, and atoms. The moment of birth decides the note of harmony or vibration.